Hello, how y'all doing? My name is Gerald Stone. Today I'm doing an interview with Latanya Singletary.
Hi.
Um, right now, she's someone that I admire, that's going, doing something with her life, her future, and I just felt like I needed to interview her, and here we are. You want to introduce yourself?
Hi, my name is Latanya Singletary. Right now, I'm a registered intern. I'll soon be getting ready to take my exam so that I can get my license in mental health. I work at Operation PAR, where I am currently a counselor, and I'm a counselor in the residential program. I'm sorry. And I have been interning in the outpatient program working with the parenting department. And that is what I do. I'm excited to get my license so that I can uh, eventually open my own facility. That's the plan.
That's the goal.
Yeah, it's my goal.
Okay. I have a few questions that I want to ask you. Start off with how do you define success?
That's a great question. Um, I believe success to me is when your dreams come true. When you work towards your dreams and you uh, completed those dreams and they've come to fruition, that is success. That's what success is for me.
Very much, very much. Has your definition of success changed over time?
I wouldn't say that it's changed. I just believe that I understand what success actually is now. At one time, I'm not quite sure when I was younger that I understood what success was. I think many of us think success is being rich.
Being rich, right.
Having a lot of money, having, a nice car or home. Not that any of those things aren't nice to have, but that isn't my idea of success today.
Okay. Very well put. Next question. If you were able to start over, what would you do the same?
If I were able to start everything over again, what would I do the same?
Yeah, what would you do the same that you're doing now?
Well, I would definitely follow the same career path. Going down this career path, I found that this is my calling to help those who are in need, whether it be through just mental health in general or through their substance issues. There's a lot of need there. There's a lot of individuals in different populations that need help and assistance, and as well as those who have suffered from trauma. That is what I would have liked to have been able to have the opportunity to do in my internship. Just work with trauma victims. And while I wasn't able to do that, obviously some of my clients have experienced trauma. So that's how I would answer that question.
What would you do differently?
What would I do differently? Probably would have started a little younger.
Right.
Yeah, I'm quite, over the age of 40.
I already answered that for you, for myself.
Okay.
Same thing with myself. I would have started a little earlier beforehand.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's definitely what I would have done. I would have come out of school, listened to my parents and, went to school after I graduated high school. Right. But that wasn't the route I took. And I imagine that had I done it that way, I probably wouldn't have arrived to where I am today with the same understanding and education that I've received. So everything happens for a reason. Right. However, if I had to do anything differently, it would be that.
One thing I do know that everything is already written. Your path and where you're going right now is exactly how it's supposed to be.
I would agree with that. I say the same thing.
Okay. My next question is, what is the most important choice you have made in your work career?
Wow, that's a great question. As far as my work career would be again, I think it's the same mental health and working with that particular population. Some of the things that I see, while it is heartbreaking to see and witness, it's definitely there's a need there, and I think that's how I would answer that question.
Okay, well, pretty good answer. Okay, the next question is, what is the choice you wish you had made?
The choice that I wish I had made. In regards to my work career?
Your work career. And your future career, and what are you trying to do, move forward with? What is a choice you wish you had made?
Okay. I mean, I guess, I've already said it. I wish that I would have started school a little earlier. And I've also mentioned that I would have had the ability to, I have an answer to that question. Through the school that I attend and where I work, I had the opportunity to do my internships at the same, where I work. Although I had to do it in a different department, a different program that's completely separate from my program, I would have done it at another facility, something outside of Operation Park, so that I can, see different things, experience different things. But sometimes, when you're wife and mom and, I work in a different county, just everything didn't line up to allow me to have that ability to be able to do that. But yeah, I would have done it somewhere else.
Okay, next question, and last question.
Okay.
As you reflect, think back on your career, your work and career. In order to be more successful, what would you do differently? Well, you know what? I'm sorry. I take that back. As you reflect, think back on your work and career.
Okay.
Okay. So just think about it for a minute.
Not what I would do differently. Just reflect back onto my work.
But in order to be more successful, when you think back on your work and your career, as as far as what you're trying to do, in order to be more successful, what would you do differently than before?
I think that all the choices that I've made has led me to where I am. I don't know that had I made any different choices outside of choosing a different population to work with and or working or interning at a different facility would have lined things up differently, as well as I said earlier, starting a little earlier. I do want to open my own facility, and while that is possibly in the cards, when you start out a little older, and I tell the children this, I speak to kids and my own kids, when you start out late, while it's never too late, to go back to school and start a career, if you have the ability and the opportunity to be able to start out of high school to go to college and come out of college and have an idea of what it is that you want to do, you have time if that time is permitted,
But also your mental may not be where it is today to where exactly what you're trying to
which is why I say that everything happens for a reason, because I also know had I gone into this field when I was in my 20s, the maturity that I have in my 40s,
right,
it is not the same, by wide streams. It's completely different. So I'm able to connect with the clients much better. I'm able to understand what it is, that they are experiencing, maybe not through my own experience, but just through societal, issues. You see a lot of in substance abuse, the statistics in regards to Caucasians and blacks is, here you rarely see uh, uh, the black population seeking help. You barely see when they do attend treatment, they rarely complete the program. And why is that? Is it because many black people have been taught to keep the things that goes on inside of their house, their personal, to themselves?
Right.
Or is it because many of the communities and resources and outreach programs don't cater to black Americans? Many counselors are white and not culturally diverse. So it's difficult for them to understand, while they're taught in school, sometimes it's still difficult for them to understand the differences between, themselves and the black population.
Okay. I have one more question as you were talking.
Okay.
Okay, you say you're working towards opening your own facility.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, now when it comes to your work and you want to open your facility, what are you doing as far as in work right now? Is that the same thing that you want to do while in your own facility, or you want to do something different in your facility?
I don't exactly think I want in my facility. Well, I know that I'll have to start out small, maybe 10 clients. I would like it to be somewhat of a residential program. I'm not entirely sure I want to focus solely on substance abuse.
Right.
I would prefer to focus on mental health, their mental health, so that way I have the ability to work with a wide range of mental health disorders.
Okay.
Versus just their substance abuse. Typically, not all, but typically many clients who have mental health disorders also have I'm sorry, I went blank for a second. Co-occurring disorders with mental health as well. Okay. With mental health and substance abuse is what I'm trying to say. It almost always go hand in hand, just through self-medication and So you would still have the ability to to treat the substance issue, but I would like to have the ability to focus on their mental health disorders. Yes, I've learned so much, in regards to diagnosing. I think I've become pretty good, really good actually, at diagnosing a client, and it's fascinating. It's really fascinating. So, yes, I would like to be able to work with a wide range of clients and focus on their mental health and helping them there, rather than just focusing on the substance issues.
Okay. Do you want to keep it broad, or you want to work on one ethnic group, or as many as you can?
That's a great question. I would never want to close the door on anyone. I would never want to do that. However, I was raised in a black community for a good half of my life, because there was a part of my life where I was raised in an all-white community.
Right.
So I understand things from many different, cultures. And yes, it is. I'll never forget when I was old enough to understand the differences in what it was like being brought up from 11 to 18 years old in an all-white community, and being one of two black families in that community, and realizing the opportunity that it gave me, and how it brought in my understanding of different cultures, or the white culture and what their hardships are, but also a black woman. So I see what the differences are, the differences in resources, and so to answer your question, I would like to focus, on helping the black community, but never turning anyone away.
Gotcha.
Yeah, and also hiring staff, who are staff that are black, and Hispanic, many different minorities that can assist and help different cultures. I can't say that I've worked in many places, but what I've seen is predominantly staff are all white. And I've seen where they're biased in or a lack of understanding. Although yes, they've gone to school and they've done the work there, but a lot of times values, their own personal values and understandings, it gets in the way, and you'd be surprised in what you see. So I think not sure. I have an idea of what my mission would be, but any staff that would work for me, they would be required to be diverse in culture and have the ability to connect with any individual, any population, any individual, despite what their culture is. That would be important to me.
Individually diverse.
Yes.
Okay, well, thank you, ma'am. That concludes.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
The interview. No problem. Thank you for allowing me to interview you. That was very beautiful.
Thank you.
Thanks everybody.
Thank you.
This concludes the video. Thank you.